Hello guys, this is Dr. Lior Bar-El. I wanted to talk about today about the Virtual Console that Nintendo has promised us from the beginning of its launch. Now, I want to discuss, will we see this? Well, first off, there's been rumors that it is already implemented into the system in the old firmware. Some hackers saw that they were trying to do something, getting it ready for the Virtual Console, and they believe in the next firmware possibly there would be a Virtual Console. The thing is, what is the Virtual Console? Well, according to what they promised is basically old games. It's going to have Nintendo games, Super Nintendo games. Supposedly, I mean, nothing is really written in stone, but, you know, based on rumors, Nintendo Wii U games, Wii games, GameCube games. Here's the thing, guys. With the amount of ports that they have done. Now, I'm not talking about porting from other systems or, you know, franchises and stuff like that. They did a port for WWE, and we saw what a mess that was. But then again, they did a port for Doom, and look how amazing it was on a handheld system, or Skyrim, or Wolfenstein that's coming out soon. The thing is, in terms of for Nintendo's Virtual Console, in terms of Nintendo games being released for the Nintendo Switch in some kind of a Virtual Console, I'm going to tell you guys, based on the ports that they've released, like Bayonetta, and already the you know, how they're kind of forcing people to buy games, like Bayonetta, like most of us in the forums especially said, oh, we just want to buy part 2, we don't want to buy part 1, why are they making part 2 $50 and forcing you to get the package to make it $30 each to get 2 of them, instead of just picking one at $30 like they did with the Resident Evil Revelations package, which you could choose 1 or 2 and they're $30 each. So the thing is, due to the amount of money they're actually making off of old ports, first off, as an investor, I can tell you that, and I invest in a lot of stocks, but especially in, like, when it comes to Nintendo, already, you know, you have third-party developers who are not ready to upgrade a 64 you know, cartridge or a 32 cartridge. They're going with the 16, that, you know, because they don't have faith in the brand of Nintendo, you know, with the right of thinking that way, especially like EA. Not that I care about them, but EA said, well, we want to see how they're doing first before we start having a development team make games for the Nintendo Switch. Okay, so the thing is, already third-party developers hardly have any type of faith in Nintendo, that they're going to be profitable in any way, that they're putting in, you know, they're investing in 16 cartridges, you know, the 16 cartridges. Now, as an investor and as a let's say I did third-party development, I would look at Nintendo and say, well, so far, and I understand what a lot of people are saying, that Nintendo isn't going to come out with a new game every month, and I totally get that. But the thing is, when they are to release, let's say, a game that somebody wants a lot, right? Somebody's requesting it, a new Donkey Kong game, they're releasing a port first. Bayonetta 3, they're releasing 2 ports first. This kind of thing, and they're marketing it like a new game. So, for example, Bayonetta being marketed part 2 as $50 if you want to buy part 2 for $50, or even Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong, I meant, what is it, Tropical Freeze, $60. It's being marketed as a brand new game. So if I am an investor or a third-party developer, I'm going to say, well, these guys don't have faith in their own product line, that they don't want to invest in their own development team to come out with new ideas and new games. So why on earth should I be investing money into this if it's crap? Now, let's face it, Nintendo Switch is an amazing system. I just don't want it to be another PlayStation Vita, okay? PlayStation Vita had plenty of potential. Sony abandoned it, okay? They abandoned it, and also the third-party developers, what happened is they lost faith in Sony's portable system, that they started focusing more on the PlayStation 4 because that's where the money was. But nobody really cared about the Vita. The Vita had the capacity to become the first ever handheld home console on, I mean, you saw Mortal Kombat they had so many good games, and it, you know, it flopped. Okay, and then they started releasing nonstop. Oh, purchase. If you guys remember, and their own virtual console, they had PlayStation 1 games, and if you wanted to purchase PSP games were as high as $50 to $60. When they saw people weren't buying them anymore, they lowered them down to $20 and stuff. Nintendo Switch is not doing that. Now, I'm not a fortune teller. I'm thinking, I don't think they're going to come out with a virtual console because it's not profitable. Already they're selling Mario 1 and Double Dragon and a bunch of old games on the Nintendo eShop. So nobody really cares about a virtual console because they have all those games already and they're already up for purchase. And now when you're selling ports at $60, you really think they're going to come out with a virtual console that's going to charge $20 or $30 a game, or $20 a game, or whatever? It's going to flop. Even if they do a virtual console, it's probably going to be loaded with corny games of the past that you played the crap out of that you could get on your cell phone. It doesn't make any sense on a computer, on an emulator, or on your PlayStation 4 like I have, or on an Xbox One, or something like that. The thing is, we have a problem. And that problem is Nintendo, even though they're a great success, they don't have any competition. That's why they're a great success in terms of a handheld system. Even if Sony wants to dip in, no one is going to trust Sony after what they did with Vita. After they abandoned Vita the way they did, I know plenty of forums of many people, including myself, that will not invest in a handheld system made by Sony. As we know, Nintendo, even when it craps, they still invest in their system. But I don't want it to be something that collects dust. You understand? Or like the PS Vita, have a bunch of indies releasing indie games, and that's it, that you can find on your cell phone. Makes absolutely zero sense. So what Nintendo should do right now is put more of a focus on releasing these ports as downloadable versions, okay? So they don't have to, spend money on cartridges and stuff like that. And to focus on their virtual console, to actually make it where the games are like about 10 to 20 bucks. Hell, I'll even accept 30 bucks if it's a remake. Like Donkey Kong should not be 60, it should be 30. Or Bayonetta, 1 and 2 should be $30 each, not force you to buy both of them in a $60 package or one at 50, which is ridiculous. So the thing is, what Nintendo got to focus on is to differentiate themselves between old and new. Right now, they're being respected as a console. We could all agree their games are outstanding. Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, even Skyrim, that's a port. But I'm saying they're not ported as Nintendo ports. You get my point? The point is, they should differentiate themselves between the old and the new and start releasing newer games. Now, what I would have done is, as a businessman, I would have invested in a development team for Bayonetta 3, which they are working on. Do not release 1 and 2. Wait till the third one comes out and then release 1 and 2. Or release it in a package in like an Ultra Edition where you're paying $110 even. Okay, or $120 even. And you'll be able to sell it as a package, or $80 as a giant package. And that, I'm sure many people would love that, especially with a collector's item in there or something. That would be really cool. Or Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, have the newest one come out, and you get the Tropical Freeze included with a $80 package. Something like that would make much more sense. But when you're starting to release ports first, you're giving a bad view of what your company is. Basically what they're doing is saying, look, like, we are kind of, scared to invest in our own system. And this is what Sony did. If you guys remember with Sony, with PS Vita, PlayStation Vita, they started being really stingy and didn't want to invest much in their stock. And what happened is many of the stockholders, many of that did not approve of the handheld system. And this handheld system that had a ton of potential end up collecting dust right on my shelf. I have the PSP that lasted for a long time, and then I have the PS Vita that lasted for very, very quick. That was just thrown to the side like a piece of crap. And that's what happens because the people, the investors saw that Sony is not investing in their system, so they didn't see that they should invest into that system because they're like, okay, Sony is not investing in it. So that means they're not having any faith in their product. They know it's going to flop. Why should I do that? And then you started seeing the sales go down of the PlayStation Vita, and then before you know it, it was completely discontinued, and it's just a piece of garbage. It was discontinued even before they mentioned discontinued, because all it played was cell phone games of independent networks, which was, you know, may God bless these independent guys. They're doing a great job, but let's face it, guys, it looks extremely retro, very, very mediocre. It's not their fault. They don't have $1 billion behind them, but those games are fun, but they're not worth $30, $40 at that price point. Then they dropped that price down, and then before you know it, you had nothing. Okay, and that's the problem. I don't want Nintendo having their third-party developers just like they did on the Wii U. I own the Wii U, and I love the Wii U. I have every Nintendo product, but I'm not a Nintendo fanboy. I also have the PlayStation 4. Okay, that's why I hate seeing fanboys of any ecosystem, if you will, game ecosystem, like the PlayStation guys come on and say, well, Switch sucks. Well, really, if Switch sucked, can you explain to me why their games are so freaking awesome? Why their sales are high? Why most of their games are freaking awesome? I mean, except for WWE. But most of their games, you could take it on the go. Something that people don't, you know, couldn't do back then. Games that are actual console-like quality. So it's something to think about when you guys do that. So Nintendo, that's what I want you guys to more, you know, to understand that if you don't differentiate between the two, the old and the new, you're going to get yourself in some real muddy waters, and eventually people are going to stop. It's not the people, the investors are going to stop to invest, the third-party developers, and you would think you learned from the Wii U about that, but you didn't. You're still on the same track, and this is wrong. You guys need to have a better marketing system, a better marketing strategy. And I think with that, because you are picking up a lot of momentum, but you know what happens to any stock? Once it goes up, it's only going to come down afterwards. It's not going to get the same spike it did when the hype was there. So right now, you got to build that momentum and keep it running as much as possible. You guys are contenders. A lot of people who say you're not contenders, you're contenders because nobody has a handheld system. Now, if a person, let's say, didn't want a portable system, like I needed a portable system, but let's say people didn't need a portable system, would they invest in a Nintendo Switch when they could play all those games on the Wii U? It makes absolutely no sense. So far, most of these ports were on the Wii U. Even Breath of the Wild is on the Wii U. What's the point of anybody? And a lot of my friends didn't make the jump to the Nintendo Switch because of that problem. Because every game that we almost have, except for Mario Odyssey and some other games, everything is on the Wii U. So that's something to think about. Anyways, that's what I got to say. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'm very curious to hear. And as always, subscribe, like the video, help out this channel grow. I got nobody funding me, like I said. That's why I did this channel, because I've noticed so many YouTubers telling you games are great because they're getting money from people who fund them. And they're not giving you honesty, and that's why I did this, because I was sick and tired of getting ripped off. And I want none of you guys to get ripped off, so I'm making this video page here to, you know, shoot out videos and do honest reviews. I did pre-order the Donkey Kong, as you guys requested for all of these, and I will do the in-depth review. So definitely check back, you know, hit me up, definitely subscribe and hit the bell button to help this channel grow, spread the word, and see what happens.